Hello, welcome to a podcast. Yeah,
Cool.
Today we're talking about like peer pressure and
Relationships.
expectations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm RJ.
I'm
I've been here
Nathan.
before. Yeah.
I have not been here before.
Cool.
But I'm here now, so
Okay.
yay.
So that's what we're talking about today. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think there is a lot of pressure to like be in a relationship in high school. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just think a lot of people expect that, and I don't necessarily know that if that's right or not.
Yeah.
However, yeah.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Okay.
Just keep on rolling.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people like.
It's like people expect you to be in a relationship, and if you're not, it's almost like you're kind of failing at the high school experience.
But then at the same time, whenever you're in a relationship, it's like if you talk to other people, they're uncomfortable around you.
Yeah.
And, like, when I was in a relationship, I would just, whenever anyone was around me and my girlfriend, it would just be immediately.
It's uncomfortable because people, they do like the whole shipping thing. Like, I find that's a big part.
Yeah. And then they just immediately, oh, sorry, we'll leave you two alone, and just try to make it subtle, but in doing so, they make it less subtle.
I think that, one of my main problems with high school relationships is not the relationships themselves, but like how other people react to it and act around you, because they like ship you, and so before you even get together, then they want to put you together, and
that just makes
that
just makes it more uncomfortable.
Right,
everyone
makes it more
involved.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then like once you're together, you almost feel like, at least when I was dating someone, like you feel like you can't break up almost because everyone wants to see you together so
you
much.
Almost would like disappoint people.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't even have to do anymore with like you and the person you're in a relationship with. It's like you don't want to disappoint the people around you. So
yeah, I think another thing is I don't necessarily know that sex is expected just straight off the bat, but the second you're in a relationship, it's definitely encouraged or pushed a bit.
And
like,
if not, then people make like a lot of innuendos about it. Like they act like you're having sex even if you're not.
Even if you're not. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's something.
That's just something to think about there, which is really uncomfortable. And actually something I wanted to bring up was like a little bit of the high school relationship paradox, where if you're not having sex, then it's like almost like not a good thing. People expect you to be having sex if you're in a relationship in high school. But then if you do, then you get like shamed and kind of, shamed,
yeah,
I guess.
But I feel like it's also kind of an angsty, edgy thing to do.
Yeah.
As
a little bit of the parent
kids
rebellion.
say. Yeah.
As the kids say.
Yeah, we could segue into a bit of a different thing friendship-wise with toxicity and versus healthy relationships.
Okay, yeah, we can do both. Relationships, like romantic and friendship.
Yeah,
we're going to do a whole episode later on friendships, and we'll give you a little intro.
So, hook us up, yeah.
Okay. Subscribe! Sorry. Okay, healthy and toxic relationships.
I don't know. I think that it's easy to just jump into a relationship without actually considering stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like
for sure.
Getting to know your partner before it's just immediately
it's a lot about the label. Like, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Now. Yeah, the label is really pushed and pressured, and that can make it more uncomfortable for both people involved.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your partner well, then that can easily, like, lead into a toxic relationship where you don't really interact that much. You're just doing it for the label.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally, for sure. And I think that, everyone always says this, but, like, communication really is key. And not just in, like, communicating, like, where you stand with another person, but also, like Nathan said, getting to know someone and not just dating them just to be dating someone almost.
Yeah.
Which I find is really common, especially in like 9th and 10th grade relationships.
I've experienced that.
Oh yeah, totally. Me as well, for sure. Like, even though I was really good friends with the person, like once we started dating, like the communication just kind of fell out, and then we weren't hanging out anymore, and we kind of lost that friendship along the way.
Yeah, I feel like even after you've like started dating, it can like even like somewhat ruin your friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely not all cases, but
but it can. It totally can, and it's pretty likely.
I got farther away from a friend that I was pretty close with.
Yeah, me as well, especially because being in a queer relationship, like a lot of people didn't know about it. It was kind of a private thing, and so then I would almost feel like more uncomfortable and weird, I guess, if I was around that person, especially like around my parents. And so we like started hanging out less because I didn't want to do like, I guess, sleepovers and hangout stuff, because I was always weird that people were like reading into stuff, even if nothing was happening. And again, it pulled the friendship apart, and like we're still on good terms, and it ended well, but we're lucky. We don't hang out.
Yeah, no, it definitely has minimized a friendship-wise relationship in my experience too. Like, I mean, right off the bat, we were pretty close. We knew each other well, and then after we ended the relationship, it just kind of went downhill. Maybe it's just that I'm unexperienced with relationships.
Yeah,
it's
I've
probably
had the
that
same
I'm
thought.
unexperienced.
Yeah, it's just same here.
Yeah. And as for like mixed age relationships,
let's get into that.
Yeah, spice it up a bit.
Okay.
I think that in high school it's really weird, just because like I've always associated older people as like a different level. Like I just subconsciously associated back in like 3rd or 4th grade. I was like, oh wow, 5th graders are so much smarter than me. I should not be talking to them.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's just because like I have, I don't know, I've had a really weird fear of people above me. That's not like there anymore, but in elementary school there was like stories of kids in my cul-de-sac who were like teenagers at the time who like paintballed our house and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of spurred my fear of older grades, and so it's kind of weird to me a bit that people are starting to date in older grades, but I guess if you want to, then just...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually have a different perspective. I think that like it's a-okay as long as you have like a similar maturity level, because I think that's important.
That's fair.
And as long as you like communicate well, because I think like if a freshman and a senior are dating, that's probably weird, because a senior has had, I mean, when you get older, like above 18 or above 20s, like 4 years is not that much, because you've had pretty similar life experiences at that point, and your maturity level is going to be more similar, especially because your brain has pretty much completed developing. But as a younger person, and the younger you are, I think the bigger that gap gets. Your maturity is different, your knowledge is different, your experiences are different, and I think that is not impossible to like work around it. Like, I'm not saying that it would be like completely out of the park if a freshman and a senior were dating, but it definitely creates a rift.
Yeah, I think seniors have just experienced so much more, just because high school is such
it's high school. I mean, there's
like
a lot of stuff happens.
Of your
the
teenage
Renaissance.
years. Yeah. There's just a lot going on, and it's just exploding. And that was a really bad description.
No, I know what you mean. But like, if you think about, like, I think freshman and sophomore dating is fine, or junior and senior dating is fine, and there was even like a sophomore who was dating a senior, and they had a healthy relationship, and like.
The other problem that comes up there is college, though. Because
oh my God.
if you're, going out of state and you just, like,
I mean, even if you're not going out of state, like, that's just, like, a whole nother entity. It's so different from high school. Like, you're going to grow apart no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's why that
I think
pair eventually ended up breaking up. I think concerns about that.
Yeah, that kind of...
I think really that it wasn't my relationship. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But that might change my opinion on it slightly, just as, like, if it's not going to matter, if you're going to go off to college and grow apart anyways, then it might not matter. But
then another part of that is just, like, experiencing relationships. Like, I personally don't think that relationships that exist in high school are going to last that long. That might be my philosophy, but to me, they just don't. I don't think that, like, a real true love exists when you're that young, because you haven't experienced that much. You haven't met that many people. Especially, like, we go to a small school, so there's, like, so many other things out there in the world that you can do and meet, like, people you can meet and see. And so I think that part of high school is experiencing those relationships and enjoying them, and then they end, and you learn something and you grow from each experience that you have, and then eventually, like, later in life, you'll find your partner, your soulmate, or whatever.
Yeah. I personally think there's a lot of hype around relationships in high school. I really...
Too much, I think.
Yeah, I'm also kind of on that page, but I think it's good to get experience.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Me too. I agree. And I think it's interesting to hear about, it's interesting to hear about, like, people who were high school sweethearts and then get married. Like, something about that.
That's weird to think about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, okay, sorry. Say what you were going to say.
Another thing is that, like, gay dating in high school is really not there. At least at our school. There's not much of it happening.
I don't think there's anywhere.
When it's happening, it's, like, really unclear. And I think that it would be nice if we could, like, see...
Gosh, I popped my knuckles. Sorry, carry on.
This whole time. Yeah, but I think it'd be nice to understand a bit. Like...
Yeah, actually, I do have some things to say about that. Number one, there are not that many gay relationships in media, and media is a huge part of how people view relationships. Yeah. And so it's hard for LGBTQ kids to see what a healthy relationship looks like, because, like, even though, like, LGBT people are the same as straight people and we're all one, blah, 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 we're all human, those relationships are still going to be different. It just is. And they're going to look different. And especially because I feel like, at least for me, when I was, like, first questioning my sexuality, I wanted to pull as far away from the straight world as I could. Because I mean, it's just, like, now I don't feel that way, but when I first was, like, coming out and stuff, it definitely was like that.
Yeah, I think it kind of started off for me, at least, as a way to just, like, be different, classify myself as something else. And then, like, I gradually realized that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It's not that big of a deal, but at first I definitely thought that, and that might have been from, like, the influence from media subconsciously, where it's, like, coming out is a big thing and it should be made a big deal, but...
That was definitely how it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think it's supposed to be a big deal, and then I guess, like, as more
when
time
no one
passed
cares,
on,
it's just like, okay, yeah, sure.
There is that, but then also just, like, as more time goes on and you become more comfortable with yourself, you're kind of like, I don't really care either. Like, why did I do that? It was so dumb to make such a big deal out of what was nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Well,
I regret that a little bit, because I think I tried to be something I wasn't.
Oh, definitely.
But I feel like I've grown up more.
I also really
hopefully now
rushed to, like, discover myself.
Me too.
I was like, this is what I am. I need to do that. And
yeah. And then the label didn't really fit anymore, and then it was like,
what
oh,
do
I
do?
must be faking it. What do I even do now?
No,
And
that's
then
a struggle.
no, yeah, I totally agree. I think we had similar experiences there.
Well, nice. I think it's been a good time. We're at about time maybe a little bit under, but I think
But
it's
I think
okay. We've covered the topic.
Covered the topics. And also, this is a big topic, so I'm sure that there will be more. There definitely will be about relationships and friendships and toxicity and probably LGBT stuff and more good stuff like that. So,
nice.
Yay. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
Subscribe. Bye.